Okay, so good morning, everyone. This is sprint 3 for Falcon planning. It's going to be a 2-week sprint, and generally it should be limited to functionality that's required to button up the Falcon sprint. At the end of the sprint, we're going to do a first release candidate. And so we should be very, very selective about the new functionality that's being added to the sprint. So as usual, we're going to go sort of from the platform and upwards. So on the platform side, there's just a few items related to...
Thomas, do you want to share your screen?
Thank you, I do. Thanks for the reminder. Better?
Looks good.
Okay. So there's a couple of platform-related features that new contributors from Sienna had picked up. So we're using those as starter issues. They are non-critical, so they should be, even though it's new functionality, I think it's perfectly fine to take in there. Even if they don't make it as part of Falcon release, it's not a big deal. Okay. On the core side, Madan, do you want to speak to some of those items?
Yeah. Well, the toolbox actually sort of, we put it on. Also, Martin's working on it.
Okay. And so these are really blockers, huh?
Right.
Okay. Okay, so that's the defects.
Well, one is the cluster intermittently doesn't stop. Right?
Yes.
The second one is the intent has a lot of problems and a lot of weak. When you install a large amount of intent, or sometimes intent will install, and the throughput gets really low. We used to get in the single node about 11,000 range now.
Okay.
Can you all hear Subin? You're talking to him, so make sure that...
Not really.
Pretty quiet.
Yeah, so...
I couldn't tell where we are on the...
Rockabouts we have on it. First one is the cluster intermittently won't start or restart. And the second bug is about the intent has a lot of problem when we install somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple thousand intents. We're seeing a lot of problem intent not being installed, and then subsequently, if you look at the throughput test, throughput drop substantially.
So Swin, so the issue there, I updated the ticket with what the current understanding of that is. This is because now whenever we withdraw an intent, we check the resource store to see if there are any allocated resources. The solution for this is, since we are trying to measure intent and flow throughput, we ought to essentially implement like a null resource store for this.
Okay. So yeah, okay. Thanks, Madan. And all the other stories in there, it has to do with
the partition service is essentially that is the that is the last set of things that are required for the dynamic clustering feature. So that is part of this sprint. 3.555, that is something that one of the external contributors has picked up. So we would like, and there's a code review for that. So I would like to get that in. It's fairly trivial and
okay.
Not be a big deal. The last one, I'm not sure who pulled that in, and I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. Again, there's no size to this either.
Yeah.
Brian, you put this one in. Do you know what the size here is?
That was a bug that I created in 2014. I don't even know if it's relevant anymore.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, actually, if I remember correctly, gossip link store is actually not even active right now. That has been replaced with something that uses the eventually consistent map. So I think we should just pull this out.
Okay, just close it.
Yeah, just close it.
Well, it looks like someone decided that they wanted to pull this in and work on it. Maybe we should reach out to this person and see if there's some other tasks that they could potentially help with. I don't know who this person is.
I think there's already a commit for this.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's something just to note for us to at least clean this up. All right, on the northbound side, just one small item, right, Brian?
Yeah, so we'd like to try to move at least some of the compilers over to full objectives, hopefully before ONS.
Okay. Do we have any specific ones that we want to tackle first?
Point to point, host to host, and multi-point to single point.
So I wonder if you should be explicit, maybe in a description of this about those. Do you want to update the description of this so that we can, have a?
Yeah, I can update the description.
Thanks. That way we know what we're aiming for and whether we met it or not.
Sure.
Okay. So there appears to be at least no southbound related work. Of course, there is still protocols that are being contributed from Huawei. That's really southbound, but just separately. On the US side, Simon?
Yeah, so for this sprint, I'm just going to focus on finishing the video and preparing for the ONS.
Okay. Yeah, so that looks doable. Jen, are you online?
Yes. Hello?
Hi. Good afternoon, by the way.
Yeah.
Or is wee hours in the morning, isn't it?
Yes, it's 3 o'clock here.
Well, thanks for joining in. So, so you're gonna be busy 1 week, right? And then the next week you said you're gonna have a chance to work on stuff.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So in the second week, I'm gonna plan to work on this metric list command stuff, and if I have more time, I can work on the CPMan as well.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
Nothing on security. Nothing on virtualization. Federation we're currently not tracking because that's Jan's working on that. Okay, well. Okay, on test improvement stuff.
Okay.
You guys have a lot, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one is kind of just typing out the show test for the release. And catching bugs there. The second two are preparing for ONS. We have a talk and we have both the talk and S3, potentially an S3 demo. And then the rest is stuff that's either in progress from last sprint, some of them we picked up mid-sprint, or outside work that we're tracking here.
Okay. And to what level are you guys going to be? Is there any list of defects that we have marked for that need to be fixed for?
Those are the two that we talked about in the call. Those are two blockers, and from the past experience that we have more rigorous checking in the next couple of weeks. Everything there's no questions and other defects introduced.
Okay, but just those two blockers and
those are the two blockers.
Okay.
The other bugs that I don't think is blocking, there's some minor issue with the team.
Okay.
Nice.
That's actually, yeah, I was a little bit surprised.
I don't know. I mean, we
okay.
only test partial. I mean, all the
Sure.
sort of protocol.
I guess we'll see at the end of this sprint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On nothing on the developer side. Bob, did you have some? I thought you had some stuff that you said you were hoping to fix. Is there anything, Bob?
Yeah, I put it in platform, actually. I'm going to try to finish up, or at least, it's something I think we should definitely merge in for Falcon, so try to get that in.
Okay, is that, do you wanna drag it into the Falcon sprint?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you already? Where is it at?
It's in platform, should be. If you refresh it, maybe.
Okay.
Yes, I think we should definitely include the getting rid of the upstart dependency in Falcon. And yeah, and that's at the point where we can merge it. We'll just need to test it and fix any problems that we run into. And I have a couple patches. I have a couple patches against that I want to merge into, but we'll review that.
Okay, so I include it into the sprint. Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
I adjusted the estimate also, but that's all right.
It was sorry, it was 5 points.
Yeah, I changed it to 3, but it doesn't seem to refresh. It doesn't matter. We can leave it or adjust it as needed.
Oh, that's interesting. You're right.
It's just 3 on the right.
Yeah, maybe I need to refresh. Okay.
I think you need to refresh your Scrum board.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you. Okay, and deployments?
Yeah, I missed just one in the deployments that now I will put again. So, well, we are finishing to create the link between at least AM Lite and Creonet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, I didn't put it there for that reason because I don't know if you are aware of that, but there was the earthquake in Taiwan, right? And so everything is still up and running and most of what they are fine. But I don't know, it may require some additional time on their side. And then I'm moving the VPLS up to the ONOS repository. And the idea is that this week, in the middle of the week, I should install for the first time the VPLS app to connect the first 2/4 sites in South America.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how it goes. And that's the story I missed there, but I'm inserting that right now.
Okay. Okay. On the community side, so I think we're pretty close to having the outline for the ONOS paper. We had a meeting last week and decided to make some adjustments, but we're pretty close to having that done, so this is still put on. So a lot of the work has already been done, we just will put it for completeness on the sprint. And outline and slides for ONOS talk, there's just some work that Andrea decided that he needs to prepare for that. So currently we don't have anything on documentation, though it occurred to me last week and I just forgot about it. We have not created a snapshot for Drake yet. For EMU yet on the wiki.
So I haven't made an issue for this, but I think it'd be really, as we move forward in ONOS, I don't know if you want to do it for Falcon, I think it'd be sort of a good idea to have sort of a documentation review as part of the release engineering process. And in particular, sort of look at, whether all the features are documented, whether the different kinds of documentation have been updated, and a bunch of other sorts of things like that.
I completely agree. However, I think I'm not sure, given all of the other commitments that we have, especially with ONS doubling the workload there, if you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, it may not be possible for this release, but hopefully that can be sort of improved for the next one.
I couldn't agree more. Mm-hmm. But I think at least we should create a snapshot for EMU release in here. I hope, so the 5 points in here is involving updating documentation as well as creating the snapshot. Creating the snapshot itself is not, it's a one-pointer. So perhaps we...
One of the things for the sprint cleanup is to actually find the major leading holes in the documentation. So I think that's...
Yes. So right now, yeah. So for me, at least, as part of this work in here would be just a cursory check through the wiki to make sure that if things are reasonably buttoned up, it doesn't have to be perfect in creating the snapshot because we're lagging so severely right behind email. So we need to create a snapshot for email.
Yeah, one thing I note is that there's some of these things that are kind of recurring, like, you see ONOS 3457, survey of current documentation set. That's sort of like kind of what I was talking about, but that's something that it seems that should probably, I don't know if there's a process for this, but we may want to think about sort of implementing or sort of, at least cataloging the stuff that we know that we want to do for every release and making sure we're not dropping things on the floor.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, there's definitely a whole category of work that we need to do around the documentation areas because the wiki is really helpful for certain things, but then information, as we're starting to get more deployments and we're starting to use various network configurations, none of that stuff is currently documented, or it's documented only piecemeal on a wiki, and so there's no central place for the users / deployers to go to find how to use the product. So
right,
we're hoping where a lot of we would be able to get some help from our partners, especially those that signed up for the productization. But we do need to do some of the groundwork ourselves.
Yeah, what you're describing, I think, is a really valuable thing, which is sort of an ONOS administrator / deployment / operator guide. Yep. But what I was kind of trying to get at was sort of a refinement to the process where we could sort of catalog, sort of make a list of the things that we know we're going to need to do for every release, and then as part of the release process, to sort of go over those things and make sure we don't forget them, whatever they may be. Some of them may be documentation. There may be other things as well. And I agree that anyone that partners can definitely help with this for sure. And in fact, everyone in the ONOS community can help with the process. But I think it's one of those things that relying on our brains to sort of recall the information every release is probably not going to be as effective as writing it down somewhere.
Yeah, and that's part of the spring cleaning activities, right? Exactly what you described is part of that.
So if somebody said, hey, I'll do the wiki snapshot, is there a set of instructions for how to do that? Kind of on Bob's point, or is it, like, who's been doing that in the past?
Right now it's been primarily Brian with me co-piloting.
So the wiki snapshot is one button click in a Confluence. Anybody could do it. Well, then there's some pointers to update. But really the biggest question is like making sure that the content is actually updated to EMU. That's always been the blocker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately now, I mean, the thing is there's been like significant lapses in updates on a lot of the pages in the documentation. So if you looked at the wiki now, it's probably a span of Cardinal, Drake, EMU, and pre-Falcon documentation. So when is the right time to snapshot that? I don't know.
Yeah, I ran into some problems as I was trying to debug the init.d script, which is that I was following instructions on the wiki which had become out of date. And so the updates weren't consistent over the documentation, and if I followed the process that was there, it just resulted in something that didn't work at all. And so tracking down the source of that trouble was a challenge.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. We've been running, 100 miles an hour for last 5 sprints, 5 releases, and so that's part of the reasoning behind the spring cleaning is to pause, catch a breath, and write down the things that should be done, and potentially doing some groundwork to help the community, help us to keep up better with these sort of activities, so we don't go back again, right? That's exactly at least in my view, that's exactly the rationale behind the spring cleaning. So I think there's some work being done on that, but unfortunately, at least for this sprint, for purposes of this sprint planning, I think we just need to cut the EMU release snapshot. So I rescoped it from 5 points to 3 points, and I think what we should make as part of this work, besides the button push, right, because that's not 3 points worth, at least schedule some cursory review for any glaring mistakes, but I think we're going to have to tolerate some holes in documentation for Falcon release, because we can't afford at this point in time to because of primarily not necessarily as much for Falcon, but because of ONS. I don't think we can afford the time.
Yeah, Brian brought up kind of an interesting issue, I think, which is sometimes the documentation will be updated for master, but master will be ahead of the current release. So that's something we may want to think about how we're going to deal with in the future.
Yeah, and so we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later. So, but anybody has any objections to this one? We should be able to do this, Brian, right?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. And I think, if the documentation in the live wiki tends to be updated to master, that's actually the best case scenario, because then we do the release, final goes out, 2 days later we snapshot the wiki, and then that documentation is persisted, and the current wiki can move forward.
Okay. Cool. All right, let's move on. On the infrastructure side, Luca just left.
Yeah, he's outside with some guys with Sienna because of the optical project, and I was with them too, but they needed him, so.
All right, but this is really not part of Falcon per se, but this is work that needs to happen. Nothing on SD and IP. On IP optical, I know Mark's not going to be able to be here. This is the work that was taken on by them. Is there somebody here who wants to represent the work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't realized that you had updated it, but I mean, I did kind of just describe what I think was doing. It's just continuing to build up that, continuing to get support for the different devices we're integrating into our port.
Could you speak up a bit? I can't quite hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So we're just continuing to build out the ePort rack, and that does involve supporting all the devices in it. So I know that that's going to be one thing we're continuing with. We also have still some API-related inter-ONOS type of design and development that we still need to finish. So those are probably the two major parts of this sprint.
Okay. All right, thank you. Nothing on segment routing, and I think these are all the external projects that. Johnson, do you want to provide an update on this one?
Yes, for.
Here, speaking of the mic.
The first one is security, flow-based security group, and I think our team is planning to finish it this sprint. And next two items are floating IP for OpenStack routing. I think basic routing features will work by the end of this sprint. And the last one is ICMP handler for routing.
Okay, thank you. So this is all pretty much centered on Asana. So, okay, thank you. Again, nothing for SFC.
Yeah, just a couple of points. One is the second one is a bug, but it's already fixed. Thomas merged the patch this morning. And the first one is simply a couple of lines of code. It's already a patch on Gerrit, and it's there.
Okay, and this one?
Yeah, this is the integration that I want to make for the ONS. It's not strictly Falcon related, but it's work that I'm going to be doing this sprint. So I want to track it, but if it doesn't make into Falcon, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Service model. So I think this is work that's not getting really directly tracked. This is the stuff that Huawei team is working on from India, on the sort of the end shell and sort of stuff. I think that's it. Oh yeah, this is the end user project. I'm not really have to figure out what these epics I think need to clean them up. I'm not sure why it's getting tracked separately.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this is. Okay, P4. This is yours, right?
Yeah, this is my.
I'm gonna move this up if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So the idea basically is to integrate this experimental support for the P4 BMV2 soft switch by using both the Thrift APIs to provision tables, all the protocol-dependent features, like tables, meters, and so on. So in this case, I'll implement a driver, and on the other side, the idea is to use OpenFlow agent by using the P4 Web agent for what it concerns the handshake and all the protocol-independent features. And to start, what I want to do is to make ONOS able to discover the BMV2 soft switch again. Okay. Basically, yes.
And this is work really that's not directly part of Falcon anyway.
Yes. I mean, should I remove it from the sprint?
No, I think that's fine. I mean, you clearly have partners and visitors who are working on more long-term projects. That's fine. I think it's fine to work on.
Okay.
As long as we track it, you know. I think that's it. I don't think there's any issues with analytics.
Did you want to go back to infrastructure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's hear.
Okay, I'm still holding on the VPN with Kevium. I really not understand anything about it, but hopefully I will get out something soon. Console cables, finally we have again a console server for all the devices. They work. I was just waiting for some adapters, so it's almost finished. We have, check performance here. Okay, so the DB that we use for on EC2 for all our services, things start to be a lot. It was a small instance, so I want to make sure it performs fine, and we have lots of security updates, some of them mandatory to do. Router traffic, also their traffic is going to start to be a lot compared to before. So we need to make sure that, especially during conferences and so on, bandwidth is enough. And we just discovered that alarms on that bandwidth are not triggered properly. So I need to check the Nagios plugin and do some work. If I finish, I have more stuff in the backlog.
Okay. So I think overall, if you were to take a look at the big picture here, so we still have, it's a 2-week sprint, we have 162 points. Again, we were overbooked, but that's, I guess, on par with the cost. So we just should try to make sure we stick to the points that are planned and account for them properly. Let's see if we can make the burn down this time. All right. So I think, oh, perfect. So you reach out to Ali to cancel the sprint.
And John.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start a sprint, and nope. 2 weeks. I'm just going to do this. What's happening? There. Okay. What?
No, I was looking just at the time. Too late.
Don't touch that button.
Too late. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think now the board should show up updated, right?
Yeah. If you try to go in the system dashboard, just here, please. Just do dashboards. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. So you have 7 days.
Puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's make it a good one.
me close this up.